ramp in 2 weeks for the final walkthrough on that. We'll be closing that project out. I will tell you that we're negotiating with the contractor on repaving 927 as part of the project, and 927 is a mess. So that will probably delay the opening of the ramp a little bit.
You're going with a paving contractor on the
We're
ramp
doing a change order.
with Ajax?
Ajax, yeah. So we'd like to get staff over there for a few weeks, get all the bugs worked out, and then we still don't have a date that we're going to move into it. But as soon as we have that, the party planning crew is at work.
I asked the question because people are asking, you know, they're seeing this thing come together. Update on hangar construction, the T's, the 60 by 60s and the 50 by 50s. I know there are aircraft owners out there chomping at the bits.
So the contract's been let, the schedule is in place. They're currently getting their steel. Their schedule's more aggressive than we thought it would be. We've sent out notices to all the first people on the 60 by 60 list, and I think those are all taken. The 24 T hangars have been sent out, and we're awaiting responses from the first 24, and then we'll move down the list as necessary. And the 50 by 50s we just discussed yesterday, we should be sending that out.
Okay, you're going from 5 to 9?
We're going to start with 5.
See if you get how
Yeah.
quick and then go to 9. Okay.
We'll be bringing that change order to the board next month, so you'll have to approve it.
Okay. I might mention, talking about hangars, we're going to be looking at some, I guess you guys are going to be looking at some 100 by 100s or 100 by 120s up
Correct.
on the north side.
Yeah. So
And included in that is I'm assuming that, I don't want to assume anything anymore, but I'm assuming that the people probably aren't aware, it was carried in the newspaper about the grant that was awarded through the efforts of our Representative Michael Grant for the A&P program,
So currently, that is in the budget.
the $3 million, unless the governor.
Unless the government items it out, we will be watching Florida Tax Watch carefully to see if it ends up on their turkey list. They have not published the 2022 list yet. Our last grant, which was the 1.2 million access to that area, was on their list, but still got approved. But we have high hopes that it will get through the process. I met with CTC yesterday, and we're going to jointly go out. They're going to have to be very involved. I will tell you, based on construction costs, $3.5 million is not going to build their facility. 2 years ago, when we put this ball rolling, it would have. So we're going to have to look at financing the difference ourselves and including that in the rent. So they're looking at that as well. I think we're going to build, well, with board approval, 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of these 100 by 120s. And then they would be the 4th building in that row. We have letters of intent from multiple users for large hangars for them to either build themselves. I think we can get some economy of scale if we build multiple units.
So there's still an opportunity for individuals or corporations to lease the ground and build their own building, as long as they meet our specs.
Yeah, there is. Building out that area is going to be dependent on future MRO development. I will be honest, I'm not going to hold up development for a third party that hasn't committed. That doesn't preclude them developing, it would just start to limit the space available. But we have a lot of interest in the AVX area, and I think not only hangar development is going to boom in that area, but also other development on the land side on the other side of the road. So we have a lot of high hopes for that.
Some of the questions that I've been asked on the hangars about separate metering per unit, because I don't think that incorporates the design.
No, it'll be, on the 50 by 50s? Or, yeah.
Well,
The 60 by 60s will be individually metered. The Ts on the 50 by 50s will not.
The 50 by 50s,
Because they're just storage hangers, they
well,
should.
you know what happened. We looked the other way.
Well, they're just storage hangers.
Got it. Okay, and I did mention the joint meeting that the city of Punta Gorda is trying to pull together. I'll let you know on that.
And as well as the EDO, EDP is working on a joint meeting with both the county, the city, and the airport. We have high hopes that can happen.
Anybody else got anything they want to bring up? You know, like I say, it's a
I
discussion
have a quick
period.
question, Mr. Chairman. Our industrial land friends, the 80 acres, where's that deal
The
at?
IDA land.
It's in my court.
Okay, is it?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
I'll hopefully get some update to you guys shortly.
Great.
You know, that brings up an interesting question as we look at a future master plan. Like, my opinion is, you know, and you've alluded to it, Mr. Parrish, that our capacity is limited on this site for future. Who knows what the future is going to be, but when you look at the boundaries of the airport to the east, do we look to continue to acquire real estate to the east for somebody 20 or 30 years from now when crazy things could happen?
I
Land
would,
acquisition.
we're watching everything along Grove. I would recommend that if those parcels become available.
We purchase.
We look at
Yeah.
purchasing them,
Yeah.
yes.
That's, what do we got in acreage now, do you know offhand?
We're a little over 2,000,
2,000, and probably need
which is pretty good
Yeah.
for an airport our size, but
another 1,000 wouldn't hurt.
I don't think there's 1,000 out there for us. But I mean, I think it's important, as we've discussed in controlling the land use around us, that we use our funds to purchase property when it's available. There are a few other small parcels out there that we're looking at. We haven't made any inroads with the owners, but we're looking at.
Yeah, because our current ALP doesn't show much acquisition in
No, it showed the acquisition that we already did.
Did, yeah.
And
okay. Anybody else?
Rob, before you adjourn, may I ask a favor? Before I was able to sit down with the hearing aid, you discussed more about what was going on, reference golf contours. Could you give me just an quick overview of what that initial discussion was? But frankly, I couldn't hear it back there.
Well, as I understand it, the staff is going to come back and ask for authority to proceed with the design of a airfield maintenance facility to replace the thing we have now. And that's independent of the current situation with golf contours.
So what is the status of golf contours?
There's no change as far as I know.
You're supposed to, if you're going to do a maintenance building somewhere else, then this need for golf contours to vacate would be gone?
No, not as I understand. What I understand Mr. Parrish is saying, if we're looking at building a quote replacement building for you, he would like a long-term lease, and the lease is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $11 in today's dollars. Am I correct in that statement?
it would be about $10,000 a month.
$10,000 a month.
For how many
$10.45.
square feet?
75 by 150.
I appreciate that, but the question I've got now, if you're considering this building, and we're busting our butts trying to find the alternate, we would certainly like to avail ourselves of a building here for obvious reasons. But now all of a sudden we go out and we negotiate a lease in DeSoto County with no assurances that we've got the possibility of moving on the grounds here, you know, where does it leave us?
But like I said, the effort for the airfield maintenance building is independent of the current situation with Gulf Contours.
Okay, but that's fine.
What the staff is looking at, which we've already discussed, is some spec buildings to be built, but you're probably talking, what, a couple of years away by the time you get something up.
So if we could negotiate a lease, that would include staying in the existing building until such time that the new building's done, that would be part of the lease, then the lease would be brought to the board for final approval.
I wish somebody would have, you know, come to us and sat on and you know, run across this possibility. Certainly would have saved some sleepless nights,
Yeah.
but we would very much like to be involved in something like that.
I think that possibility just arose today in this workshop.
Well, I appreciate it, let's put it that way. But we would like to continue this conversation so that, you know, we kind of know where we're, you know, what we're looking at down the road.
So that would,
I
to
mean,
make
that-
any change in that, that's gonna take a board action to change the
So,
current situation.
I'm going to, just like we did for the maintenance building, have one of our local engineers do a diagram of similar what we would propose and bring that to the board next meeting. That'll be April 7th.
Sorry,
Can't-
I
can't-
didn't follow my own direction. So that's where we are.
Jim, quick question. So a new building for Mr. Goings, if he would negotiate such a thing, why wouldn't we put him on the other side of the street and put our maintenance facility where his old building is, since it's such a
Where the
mess?
fuel farm is.
I
You
think,
know? Possible?
well, I think as the fuel farm continues to expand, we don't want to, I mean, that would have been a great location for maintenance
Yeah.
to grow, but ultimately, we've always known we're gonna need a maintenance facility. And I think with the development of the Air Center, with Allegiant and Sun Country and potentially other commercial developers, commercial aviation users fueling, we have to separate those two, and that gives us that opportunity.
You mean maintenance and fueling?
So
Should
the
be
fuelers are
separated.
now gonna be in an 8x20 building, waiting for their next loads. They need to be in a larger building. And we also need a shipping location for all the stuff coming to the airport. I mean, we used to get 2 or 3 shipments a week, now we're getting 10 a day. And we don't have a dock-high building where we can unload things. We don't even have a regular building where we can unload things, so.
I think you really gotta seriously consider the separation of Gulf Contours and the fueling farm. That
Yeah.
fueling
Yeah.
farm is wide open.
It is, it should be secured, based on, TSA and FAA.
So the basic question is, at
Recommendations.
some point in time, I think that Gulf Contours building has to go away.
It
Now,
has,
now whether that's
it
next
either has to
week or
be
2
separated
years,
out
yeah.
or it needs to go away. My solution would be to build a spec building, that they can